Ladies and gentlemen, you ever been knocked down? I mean really knocked down. Not the kind where you trip and catch yourself, but the kind where the world hits you so hard, you wonder if you can get back up. That's life. It doesn't pull punches. It doesn't care about your plans or your dreams. It hits you when you least expect it, and it hits you hard. But here's the thing, getting knocked down isn't the problem. It's staying down that is. Life will break you. It will test you. It will push you to your limits. But in those moments, you find out who you really are. You find out what you're made of. When life breaks you, it doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're human. It means you're alive. And as long as you're breathing, you have a chance to get back up. You see, failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. It's letting that moment define you. It's letting that setback convince you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough. But that's a lie the world wants you to believe. You have within you the strength to rise again. You have within you the power to turn that pain into purpose, that struggle into strength, that setback into a comeback. But it starts with you. It starts with your mindset. It starts with your belief that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by your response to them. So when life breaks you, and it will, don't stay down, get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because the world needs you. It needs your strength. It needs your resilience. It needs your story. And when you rise, you don't just rise for yourself. You rise for everyone who believes in you. You rise for everyone who needs to see that it's possible to overcome. You rise because that's what you're meant to do. So the next time life breaks you, don't break with it. Stand tall, stand firm, and show the world that you can't be broken, because you're not just surviving. You're thriving. Life will break you. It will challenge you with pain, failure, and setbacks. But it's not the fall that defines you. It's your willingness to rise again that shapes your destiny. The moments that hurt the most are the ones that shape your strength. Through suffering and hardship, you discover your true resilience and unlock the purpose hidden in your struggle. Life doesn't define you. Your reaction does. The power lies within you to stand firm, rebuild, and move forward, even when everything around you seems broken. When you rise, you light a path for others who are still in the dark. Your strength becomes someone else's inspiration. Your fight becomes their hope. You ever wake up one day, everything's quiet, everything's still, and out of nowhere, boom. Something hits you, a call you didn't expect, a decision you didn't want, a failure that stings deep. It comes from nowhere, and the first thing you feel, that weight, that sharp twist in your gut. You wonder, why now? Why me? But life don't give you warnings. It doesn't hand you a schedule. It doesn't ask for your permission before it delivers the blow. That's not how this works. Life will knock you down whether you're ready or not. See, the truth is getting knocked down. It's part of the deal. It's part of the process. You can do everything right. You can work hard, treat people good, pray every day, and still, life finds a way to test you. No one's immune. No one's untouchable. The strong, the weak, the rich, the poor, life breaks everyone at some point. And when it does, it don't care about your title, your resume, or your past victories. It just hits. But here's the difference, and it's where the truth really lives. What you do after that moment, that's where the power lies. That's where the test begins. You got two options when you're down. Stay there, let the dirt become your home, or push yourself off the ground even when it hurts, even when you're scared, even when you don't know what tomorrow looks like. That's the choice. Too many people think that being broken means being finished, but that ain't true. Being down, that's not defeat. That's just delay. That's just detour. What defeats you is refusing to get up. What defeats you is when you start believing that where you are now is where you'll always be. But you are not your pain. You are not your mistake. You are not that one bad moment, that one bad year, that one closed door. You are possibility. You are potential, but you've got to choose it, even in the dark, especially in the dark. Sometimes life will have you crawling, your knees bleeding, your heart tired, your spirit bruised. But even a crawl moves you forward. Even a broken step is still a step. You gotta understand that being strong doesn't mean you don't fall. It means you refuse to stay down once you do. You can lose everything. The job, the money, the friends, the plan. But if you don't lose your fight, if you don't lose that little flame inside of you that says, not like this, not yet, then you ain't lost, you just getting started again. Some people, they hit the ground and start making excuses. It's too late. It's too hard. I'm not lucky like them. But I'm telling you, none of that matters. None of that will help you, because the ground don't care about excuses. Pain don't care about reasons. The only thing that matters is what you do now. You got people counting on you, whether you see it or not. People watching you, people inspired by you, even in your lowest moments. They're not watching for perfection. They're watching to see if you rise, to see if you fight back, to see if you believe in something bigger than the pain you're going through. Because when you rise, it tells them they can rise too. That's why staying down ain't an option. That's why you gotta dig deep, even when the world tells you it's over. You look in the mirror and remind yourself, I'm not done, I'm not quitting, I'm still here. Every breath you take is a reminder that the story's not finished yet. That's the gift. You've got another chance, another choice, another moment to say, this isn't how it ends. Sometimes getting back up doesn't look pretty. It's slow, it's messy, it's hard, but it's yours. And nobody can take that comeback away from you. Nobody can own that climb. That's yours to build, yours to earn, yours to wear like armor. So let them doubt you. Let them count you out. You just keep moving. One step, one fight, one breath at a time, because staying down is easy. Staying down requires nothing. Just giving up, just quitting on yourself. But rising, that takes guts, that takes fire, that takes something real inside you. And the beauty of it is, you already have it. You were born with it. It's in you. Even if it's quiet right now, even if it's buried under all that pain, it's there. You gotta be the one who decides this isn't the end of your story. You gotta be the one who turns the page. Maybe the world said you're not enough. Maybe the world laughed when you fell. That's okay. Let them laugh. You focus on the climb. You focus on the next breath, the next move, the next rise. That's where greatness begins. Not in perfection, but in persistence. You want to know what strength is. It's not loud. It's not always fast. It's not about pretending nothing hurts. Real strength is quiet. It's that decision you make at 3 a.m. to keep going. It's that small voice in your head that whispers, get up, when everything else is screaming, stay down. It's choosing faith over fear, effort over excuses, purpose over pain. And one day you'll look back, not just at the fall, but at the fight, and you'll realize that moment when life knocked you down, that was the moment you met yourself. That was the moment you found out what you're really made of. Not in the winds, not in the comfort, but in the broken places, in the fire. That's where the real you is forged. And if you can stand up after that, there ain't nothing in this world that can stop you. Pain, it's the teacher nobody asks for, that lesson no one volunteers to take. It doesn't knock politely. It kicks in the door, and when it enters, it changes the whole room. The air gets heavy, the lights get dim, and suddenly, everything you thought you understood feels different. But here's the truth. It's in that moment, in that storm, in that fire, that something deep inside of you begins to awaken. Something powerful. Something necessary. Because pain, as much as we hate it, as much as we try to avoid it, is the pathway to purpose. You don't find your reason in the easy seasons. You don't discover your strength when everything is going right. When the bills are paid, the love is strong, the job is good, and the skies are clear. That's peace, yes. That's comfort, but comfort doesn't build character. Comfort doesn't push you to ask why you're really here. Purpose is born in the struggle. It's formed in the dark. It's carved out of tears and silence and days when getting out of bed feels like the hardest thing in the world. See, there's something about pain that strips away the noise. It takes off the mask. It forces you to confront the parts of you that you've been hiding, the parts you've been ignoring. It breaks the mirror and shows you who you really are. Not who you pretend to be when people are watching, but who you are when everything's been taken, and all that's left is your will to rise. Purpose lives on the other side of that kind of pain, but not everyone reaches it. Because pain also gives you a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better, and that choice, that's where the transformation begins. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who have suffered the most. The ones who have lost, been betrayed, been abandoned, been counted out, and still found a way to stand, not because they enjoyed the pain, but because the pain revealed something inside of them they didn't know was there, a calling, a purpose, a fire that couldn't be put out. You think great leaders, great visionaries, great artists, great healers just showed up one day with clarity and courage? No, they were forged. Life can be loud with its judgments. It'll try to put a label on you the second you hit a low point. It'll say you're a failure because you lost the job. Say you're broken because the relationship ended. Say you're not enough because the dream didn't happen the way you planned. People, systems, even your own inner voice will try to define you by what you're going through. But the truth is simple and powerful. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are defined by your response. That moment when everything falls apart, when the plan crashes, when the ground under your feet disappears, that moment doesn't get to write your story unless you let it. That's not who you are, that's where you are, and there's a difference. Where you are is temporary, who you are. That's built over time, that's carved from how you stand when the wind won't stop. That's shaped by what you choose to believe when everything around you says give up. You could be surrounded by chaos, trapped in a storm of problems, but still hold peace inside, still hold hope, still make choices that honor your future, because your response to the storm, that's your power. That's your fingerprint. That's the thing nobody can take from you. See, you can't always control the cards you're dealt, but you can control how you play them. You can't stop the losses, but you decide whether they end you or grow you. There are people out there right now who have every reason to quit, every reason to be angry, every reason to fold, and yet they show up, not because it's easy, but because they made a decision that says, no matter what happens to me, I'm still going to choose who I want to be. That's not weakness. That's strength at its highest form. That's resilience with roots. You could be walking through pain so deep you barely recognize yourself. You could be facing days so hard you forget what joy even feels like. But if you decide to stand, if you decide to fight for something better, you're rewriting your narrative. You're saying, yes, life hit me. Yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've made mistakes, but I'm not staying down. I'm not surrendering. And that choice, again and again, is what separates those who just survive from those who rise. Your response is more than a reaction. It's a message. It says to the world, I am not what I'm going through. I am what I decide to become. It says, I won't be another victim of circumstance. I will be the author of my next chapter. And every time you choose growth over fear, faith over doubt, courage over comfort, you take back control. You silence the lie that your worth is tied to your situation. Think about it. Some people have everything, the money, the fame, the comfort, and still they feel lost, still they feel empty, because it's not what's around you that gives your life meaning. It's what's within you, it's how you face what's hard, how you show up when no one's watching. That's where character is revealed. That's where purpose is born. That's where legacies begin. And sometimes the only way to discover that strength is by going through what you never wanted to face. Sometimes the weight you're carrying isn't there to crush you. It's there to build you. Sometimes the rejection isn't punishment. It's redirection. And sometimes the end of something you thought you needed is really the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined. So don't let that mistake define you. Don't let that loss tell you who you are. Don't let that delay convince you that it's over. It's not over. Not if you still have breath in your body. Not if you still have vision in your heart. The world may look at your circumstances and count you out. But if you respond with purpose, if you respond with fight, then you've already won. Because you're still choosing to rise when it would be easier to fall. People may see your struggle, but they won't always understand your strength. That's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to become someone even you didn't know you could be. And that happens when you decide day after day that your story will not be written by pain, fear, or failure, but by power, purpose, and perseverance. And yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take more effort than you thought. It's going to take late nights, broken moments, lonely stretches of road. But if you keep responding with vision, if you keep choosing the version of yourself that refuses to give in, there's not a storm out there strong enough to stop you. Because when you respond with truth, when you move from intention instead of emotion, you stop being a victim and you become a force. You stop waiting on life to hand you something better, and you start building it yourself. And brick by brick, breath by breath, choice by choice, you become someone the old you couldn't even recognize, not because the pain disappeared, but because you stopped letting it control the narrative. So remember this. Where you are today doesn't define who you are. What happened to you doesn't get to write the end of your story. What defines you is how you stand up in it, how you speak over it, how you rise beyond it. What defines you is the decision you make right now to be more than your circumstance, to be the author of your future, not the echo of your past. When you're walking through the fire, when you're fighting battles no one sees, when the world feels cold and quiet, and you're left picking up pieces of a life that used to make sense, it's easy to believe that it's just about you. That your struggle, your tears, your comeback is a private thing, but it's not. It never was. What you do in the dark, how you fight through your pain, how you rise again after the fall, it's not just for your own redemption. It's for someone else who's watching, someone who needs to believe that rising is still possible. There's somebody out there right now, quietly fighting a war in their mind, heart, or body. They're standing where you once stood, on the edge of giving up. They're doubting themselves the way you once doubted yourself, and they're waiting for a sign, a reason to keep going. They're not asking for a miracle. They're asking to see someone who made it, someone who didn't stay down, someone who got up even when everything said they couldn't, and that someone is you. See, your comeback is bigger than your ego, your pride, or even your personal goals. It's a spark, a light, a message that says, yes, it gets hard, yes, it gets dark, but no, that's not the end of the story. When you rise, you give others permission to believe they can too. When you show resilience, you hand out hope. You become living proof that it's not over when life says it is. It's over when you say it is. So maybe you thought this comeback was just about proving something to yourself, proving that you still had something left in the tank. And yeah, that's part of it. But don't overlook the bigger picture. There are people who are going to watch how you carry your pain, how you walk through your healing, and they're going to take notes. Not because you're perfect, not because you had it all figured out, but because you kept going, because sometimes inspiration doesn't come from the top of the mountain. It comes from someone still climbing it, gritting their teeth, wiping their tears, and putting one foot in front of the other anyway. That's where the real power is. That's where the connection is, not in the flawless story, but in the honest one. You don't have to be loud about your comeback. You don't have to post about it or scream about it. All you have to do is keep showing up. All you have to do is keep choosing faith over fear, courage over comfort, purpose over pain. That choice, day after day, becomes a beacon for someone else who's silently screaming for help. And it's not about pretending to be strong every moment. It's about choosing to continue even when you feel weak. That's the kind of strength that moves people. That's the kind of strength that changes rooms. That breaks generational curses. That redefines what's possible. You see, we're all connected, and you never know who's watching your fight, drawing courage from your journey, your child, your friend, a stranger, someone who's about to quit, someone who's thinking they're the only one going through it. Your comeback tells them you're not alone. I've been there, and if I can get through it, so can you. That's why quitting ain't just quitting on you. It's quitting on everyone who needs what's inside of you. Everyone who needs your voice, your gift, your example. Because your story might be the blueprint for someone else's breakthrough. The words you speak over your own life might be the echo that saves somebody else's. So don't underestimate the power of your fight. Don't downplay the impact of your rise. That comeback you're building in silence. That's going to heal someone in ways you'll never fully understand. That comeback is going to be the reason someone chooses to live, chooses to love again, chooses to believe again, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be real, real with your pain, real with your progress, real with your process. Because the people who need to hear from you don't need a highlight reel. They need truth. They need to know that broken doesn't mean beyond repair. That lost doesn't mean gone forever. That tired doesn't mean defeated. You're still here for a reason, breathing for a reason, fighting for a reason. So don't let fear convince you your comeback is just about redemption for your past. It's about leadership for the future. It's about legacy. It's about purpose. It's about reaching back and pulling somebody else out of the same pit you had to climb out of. You survived the storm, now someone else needs your umbrella. You made it through the fire, now somebody else needs your warmth. You found the road when you thought it was over, now someone else needs your map. So rise with that in mind, rise like it matters, because it does. Keep showing up like it counts, because it does, even when no one's clapping, even when no one sees the work behind the scenes, do it anyway. Heal anyway, grow anyway, fight anyway, because someone's miracle is hiding inside your persistence. This comeback is going to echo long after you've made it. It's going to inspire people you've never met. It's going to reach places your hands never will, not because you shouted about it, but because you lived it, you walked it, you embodied it, and that's what real impact looks like. Not noise, but influence. Not fame, but legacy. Not applause, but transformation. And it all starts the moment you decide this isn't just about you. It's about every soul who's waiting for proof that the valley doesn't last forever, that the pain doesn't win, that the night turns into morning if you just keep walking through it.